guess we'll go ahead and. Okay, we'll go ahead and call to order at 6:01. Oops, this is coming apart. First things first. So, City and County of Honolulu monthly reports, starting with Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening. I'm firefighter Kiakalan from the Makiki Fire Station. Incident statistics for September 2024 include 4 nuisance fires and 15 activated alarms resulting in no fire. Fire safety tips and announcements. The fire safety tip of the month is. Oh, you want to do that? Okay. I think. Emergencies, the medical alarms that we went to, we had 113 medical alarms, 2 motor vehicle collision with pedestrians. We had 9 motor vehicle crash/collisions and 1 mountain rescue. The fire safety tip includes smoke alarms, make them work for you. This year, the National Fire Protection Association's Fire Prevention Week campaign strives to educate everyone about the importance of having working smoke alarms in the home. For more information and resources, visit fpw.org. 3 bulletin points they have for this is install smoke alarms in every bedroom, outside each separate sleeping area, like a hallway, and on each level of the home. The second bulletin point is test smoke alarms at least once a month by pushing the test button. And the third is replace all smoke alarms when they are 10 years old or stop responding when tested. You guys have any questions?
Okay, any questions starting with the board? Seeing none, are there any questions from the attendees? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next up we have Honolulu Police Department.
Good evening, Chair Char and everyone in attendance. Lieutenant Sagusio representing the Honolulu Police Department District 1 Community Area of Responsibility. Thank you guys for your time and patience. The information I'm going to be providing for you guys today is the stats for your area. For more statistical information or specific statistical information, you guys can go to our public website, www.honolulupd.org. I'm just going to get right into it for the stats for September. So motor vehicle thefts are up. They're at 25. Previous to that was 15. Burglaries are 7. Previously it was 3. Thefts 34. Previous month was 24. UMVs or car break-ins are 33. Previous to that was 21. Assaults were 11. Previous to that was 9. 6 assaults was 1. Previous month was also 1. There was no graffiti cases reported in both months. And then there were 2 September. Previous to that, it was 3. So total calls for service for your particular area is 2,441 compared to the previous month, 2,104. Due to the increase in auto thefts in the area, District 1 has reallocated some police personnel to address the issue. We just want to remind our community members to secure their vehicles and their keys especially. We're also suggesting that people utilize heavier duty chains and U-locks when securing the mopeds because they also account for auto thefts as well. District 1 will also be conducting some encampment cleanups in the near future with regards to the streams and bridge areas. Officers have been requesting these cleanups, and Sergeant Sean Cavaco and his bike detail will be spearheading the efforts with patrol's help. The time frame for these cleanups are still not solidified as of yet, but are definitely forthcoming. We're asking our community members for some patience and cooperation with these project cleanups because of the heavy equipment needed to get these derelict and abandoned items out of the canals and underpasses. We may need to put up some toll zone signage for particular areas nearby for the days of the cleanup to accommodate the heavy equipment. that will be needed. I will keep you posted and in regards to any type of further development. I just wanted to talk about the most recent upcoming event. It's going to be the Pride Parade that will be happening this Saturday on October 19th. However, the start time will be at 4 p.m. instead of the morning hours like last year. Starting location will be at Atkinson Drive entrance to the Ala Moana Beach Park, and the parade ends at Kapilani Park in Waikiki. Drivers prepare accordingly for road closures and heavier traffic during those times. With Halloween upon us, the safety tip for October will be food tampering, involve candies and treats. We're asking our community members to be very cognizant and very diligent in checking the candies and other treats that our keiki will be getting on that evening. HPD has a procedural info notice in place for our officers on how to handle the situations and notifications that need to be made. All officers that are called to these types of cases will be making further attempts to determine where the tampered food came from. However, I think the best cure is prevention. Please check the packaging and wrappers. If compromised, please discard. Only go to trusted neighbors, friends, and family when trick-or-treating. Also, shopping centers will also be handing out candies on Halloween, but leave nothing to chance. Please let us check these candies at least twice before we consume them. At this point in time, I'm going to yield back the rest of my time and take any questions from the board members and public attendees.
Okay, I believe John has.
I have a community concern that it affects the police. So I would like to put you guys in there. There's a widow who's living in Arcadia, and I also live in Arcadia, who owns an apartment next door in Puno Cliffs. The problem is that the passage under the road is occupied by a homeless person who bothers her, and she owns an apartment in the Puno Cliffs, and the tenant quit, but she needs that rent to keep living. So it's kind of a critical situation. But again, an 80-year calls up and says, "Would you take care of it?" Nobody's paying attention to her. Well, it's both police and the Puno Cliffs need to get together, find some way to get there. But the guy is living in the cavern underneath Puno Cliffs, underneath the freeway there, and we need to get somehow to get the fence fixed, and then police able to respond.
You know what? After the meeting, I'll go there personally and I'll check out this location. So we've been with some of the other officers that work up in the hill have been checking these underpasses and the canal areas, especially off of Leo to like these encampments and stuff like that. But Puno Cliffs is the first time I've heard of it, so I'm gonna check it out and try to see what I can do to see if we can schedule it on the next SPO.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll do Richard, then Eric, and then I see Paul Klink and Sam Granger. Okay, so we'll start with Richard.
Lieutenant, real quick, what's the current law when it comes to hoverboards, electric bikes, electric scooters, and things like that on sidewalks?
That's a very good question. So we're treating most of those electric hoverboards or electric boards, one wheels. We're treating them like skateboards. So there's laws in the book in regards to business district areas. They cannot be coasting down the sidewalk on business district areas. So downtown Honolulu, especially in Waikiki, but in residential areas, it's kind of not as enforceable in regards to that, because it's pretty much they're strict about the whole part about it being a business district where the enforcement should be held. Yeah. But if you find these people, riding hazardously, go ahead and give us a call, and then we'll come and try to service the call as best as we can. Just realize this: some of the people that are using these things are juveniles. So obviously, citations might not be in order, but definitely talking to the parents in regards to these quick moving boards for those particular areas of the residential areas in Makiki.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant.
Okay, Eric.
Hi, Lieutenant. In regards to John's concern about someone living underneath in the caves or in the river system of Makiki Stream. I've noticed they access that area on the Nehoa Street and Makiki, that corner. There's a fenced off little area. It's access for the city to, to access underneath the bridge right there on Nehoa Street. So they jump over that fence right there. Then they can access the tunnel that leads to the caves at Punahou Cliffs. They will, and I'm sure you're aware of it. A lot of people do tagging down there, but on a daily basis, I'll see people pulling their whole bike up and out and over that fence right there on Nehoa Street. So that's typically where they're accessing that area. Just a heads up.
Yeah, we just checked that location, if I'm not mistaken, sometime the beginning of last week. So we did a mispub report. We definitely notified our command in regards to that. The SPO, SNO, the city DFM finally got their crane and hoist back in operation so that we can utilize that to get all of those abandoned items out of that location. Yeah, so we checked that location, and I kind of noticed too, I wanted to get together with DFM and the city because there's actually a gate access to it that has no lock. I don't know if they cut it off or they haven't put the lock back on, but it's really easy to just open the gate. It's just a swing gate. It's right by that ladder that leads down into the canal. That and maybe making the fence a little bit higher. I think that would also help us in regards to keeping people out of that location because it's very dangerous. The rainy season is coming. There's going to be a lot of fast moving water in that canal coming off the mountain. Yeah.
Okay. Next, I believe, is Paul Klink.
Good evening, officer. I just wanted to share my mahalo and thank you. I had some vandalism at a condo I was living at on Makiki Street recently, and the officers responded quickly and were taking pictures and just went so far above and beyond. I wanted to say thank you. And also on a separate issue, I was having some issues with some people down in the park, and they were quick and were very diplomatic and resolved everything without any future ramifications. I just wanted to say thank you very much for everything you guys do in Makiki.
No problem. I'll relate that to the officers. Was it daytime or evening?
One was day and one was evening.
Okay, I'll relate it to the officers.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, Sam.
Hi, Lieutenant. I just wanted to express thank you as well for your team for quickly responding to the group of people that were shooting up on Tantalus into the forest on October 7th. I believe you apprehended the people that were doing this, so this was greatly appreciated. Unfortunately, the following week, there was some more gunshots that were heard by residents. I just wanted to get your opinion as to whether you're seeing a pattern of this up in the area and, what kind of things we can do to help prevent this.
In regards to that last incident, I was working that night. We, my guys actually responded very quickly upon the calls from the public. So with that being said, I want to actually thank the community for contacting us, multiple calls, giving us the directions of the vehicle. If it wasn't for one of the calls to say the type of vehicle, color of the vehicle, we probably wouldn't have gotten them. And then a quick response of my officers heading up the mountain, witnessing and seeing a possible vehicle, stopping them, and then arresting 3 individuals, recovering 2 handguns, was a great thing for us that night. Now, in regards to some of the other things that are occurring on the hill, sometimes we have a lot of issues with fireworks. So there's a huge distinction between fireworks and firearms. But either way, right, it's still a violation. Please contact HPD 911. We'll respond accordingly. Try to see if you can get a description of the vehicle, as it passes by. We're not asking you guys to engage with them, but any type of information, like the direction that they're going, how many occupants, color of vehicle, if it's a truck or a vehicle, that would be greatly helpful to our officers in, generating and stopping these people from doing those kinds of things up on the hill. But yeah, please continue to call. Feel free to call. Racers, any time of the night. It's just difficult for us to have officers just posted up there, the entire night, but continue to call and we'll respond accordingly.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Okay, in the interest of time, we'll go ahead and move on to audience questions, and we'll go ahead and take the one.
Good evening, Lieutenant. I've been in my neighborhood for 20 plus years, and I've noticed in the last few months, several months, that we've been having major police activity, fire department and everything going to building 1427 Ernest Street. And that's on the corner of Green and Ernest. And I wanted to see if you could provide the neighborhood board a count of how many incidents or calls that you were sent to that building 1427, which is a affordable, this bill 7 that just went up recently. And being there for 20 something years, I've never experienced this much activity, domestic issues, everything across the board in the last few months. But I just wanted to see if that's possible for you to provide a count of all the incidents to that building to our board, maybe next round. If that's possible.
Most definitely, I could do that. If I could just get your name, sir, just real quick, so I can give it for my action report.
Rich Kaz, CAZ.
CAZ. Okay. Yeah, in regards to that 1420, so Ernest and Green Street is kind of a hot topic for us due to the fact of, first of all, the parking situation at that location. There's an issue with one of the no parking signs right at the corner. There's a lot of illegal parking in that location. And a lot of people call, so we try to address those illegal parking calls. The next type of calls that we usually receive at night is usually suspicious activity, which is wonderful. That's our community members helping us out in regards to that location. I think the calls that resulted with the community contacting us in regards to suspicious activity in that area has reduced actually criminal cases. I mean, obviously these people that are hanging out at that time of night are up to no good. But when police presence, when we start showing up and stuff like that, they're very reluctant to continue their illegal activity, and they usually leave the area. So please continue to call in regards to suspicious activity. We often get moped thefts out of that location. I guess there's a lot of people that live over there that have mopeds, and mainly it's parking situations, and then some nights we're called over there for argument calls. But yeah, we're going to continue to ask the community to continue to call. Anytime you see something really suspicious, just give us a call and we'll address the situation when we get there.
All right. Well, thank you. And I also want to thank you and the police officer. One stopped by my house and mentioned that they were going to be patrolling a little bit more because of the activity and as much. So I appreciated that. He just stopped by while I was watering the grass and everything, and kind of said that he was going to have more police activity, patrols around the area. But I appreciate that too. Really helpful.
Absolutely. So, Rich, I'm going to try to see if I can get the past 2 months information. I don't know if I can pull anything further than that without having to
okay.
dive in too deep, but I'll try to see if I can bring that to the next meeting.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, in the interest of time, if you have any further questions or comments for the officer, be sure to take it up after the board or outside the board meeting. Thank you very much, Lieutenant. We'll go ahead and take up next Board of Water Supply, Michelle Harmon.
Hi, aloha everybody. Sorry, I am at another meeting right now, so I just have a quick update for you. We have our 2025 calendars that the students did, posters and poetry contests. Those will be going out to schools and will be available at the Board of Water Supply in November. And then we want to encourage anybody who knows students to get them to enter our next contest for the 2025 contest for the 2026 calendar. And the theme for that calendar will be Worth of Vai. And that's all I have for you tonight. I'm happy to take any questions.
We'll go ahead and start with any from the neighborhood board first. Okay, seeing none from the board, are there any from the attendees? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you everybody. Have a great night.
And moving on to board business, we have a filling of one vacant seat in Sub-District 1, Tantalus, Mottsmith, Heulu. Residents interested in filling a vacant board seat must bring current proof of residency to the board meeting or contact neighborhood board assistant, Curtis Hayashi, to verify residency in advance. Do we have anyone interested in filling the vacancy? Okay, seeing none, moving on to the next filling of one vacant seat in Sub-District 2, Kinau, Lower Makiki, Kewalo. Residents interested in filling a vacant board seat must bring current proof of residency to the board meeting or contact neighborhood assistant, Curtis Hayashi, to verify residency in advance. Or now. Is anyone interested in filling the vacancy for Sub-District 2? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and push on. Approval of regular meeting minutes, Thursday, September 19th, 2024. Does anyone have any corrections?
Move to approve.
Okay, Curtis moves to approve. Oh, sorry, Harris. Second by John Steelquist. Do we have any objections or abstentions? Seeing none, we have our September minutes. Next up is approval of candidate forum permitted interaction group report. I distributed that last meeting. Basically, it's a rough outline for how our planned candidate forum is going to go during our recess for today's meeting. The only slight change that I have is instead of having the OHA part at 7:50, I believe in the interest of time, we should have it at 7:30. Do we have? Might I make a recommendation? Change the or no? Just a motion to approve the PIG report. Okay, Richard. And seconded by Harris. Do we have any objections or abstentions from approving the report? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and approve that report. Next up, we have the Nice Neighborhood Committee report. Harris.
All right, thank you very much, Chair. A lot of great things going on. Our last meeting that was held on September 30th, the minutes are there, but just real quick highlights. I'd like to thank the Honolulu Police Department for the clearance of that vacant lot at 1525 Leo Street. There's a lot of communication with the owner of the lot, and we got that cleared within a week. Also at 666 Prospect, it's a bigger work that we're working on project. It's actually talking about the Punchbowl perimeter, and we got the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, DLNR, and as well as our representatives, Representative Bellotti also involved. And so we'll be continuing the discussion because it also will include the other neighborhood board, probably on the Nuanu side, so Nuanu Neighborhood Board. So we'll be continuing that discussion in a larger aspect. So that was great. We also talked about the Resilience Hub, which we're going to move it out of the nice neighborhoods into the full board agenda because it could be a benefit for the entire district. The Makiki laundromat item that was brought up by Nathan is also being followed through Councilmember Dos Santos Tam's office. Lynn Robinson is following up with the DPP to assist in that area. A new item which also includes the Board of Water Supply. I want to thank Michelle Harmon for actually joining the meeting this last meeting. And we're doing an inventory of fire hydrants. And so this item also will be brought onto the board's agenda because it's a larger project. And then Claire Santos brought up, which she'll be bringing more information to us about the fire ants. So look forward to our next meeting, which is set for Monday, October 28th at 2 p.m. And I'd like to thank the Coronet Condominium because they're going to provide a community access area so that we can have the meeting within the district. And so they're going to open up their area for community to come and join the meeting. So that way I've been going by myself to Kapalamahale, and now I can just stay in our district and have our meetings present there. So we look forward to that area. So anyway, that's it. Any questions?
Okay, starting with the board, Ian.
I just want to tag on to what you mentioned about the Liho address. So one of the nearby residents messaged me. It's not just that it got cleared out, which is very good enough, but as we discussed at a previous meeting, permission has been extended for reporting trespassing to one of the property owners nearby. So we're going to be able to start reporting the trespassing earlier. So I think the Good Neighborhoods Committee continues to knock it out of the park.
Thank you very much.
Okay, seeing no other questions from the board, I guess we'll entertain at least one from the attendees, if there is any. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and thank you very much, Harris. Move on to the motion of support for the Hawaiian Ultra Running Team Endurance Run. So the letter was posted to the Google Drive, and I believe we have a representative here to answer any questions we might have.
Chair, may I motion to support?
Okay, so Ian makes the motion to support.
Second.
Discussion.
I just want to add that it's a very interesting event that brings a lot of interesting attention, and it's almost like a rare event in the world in terms of how strenuous it is, and it's kind of cool that it happens in our backyard.
Okay, seeing no, Richard, go for it.
Will this have any impact on our community, road shutdowns? I didn't get a chance to take a look at this website. So this is going to be happening.
I'll go ahead and recognize the representative.
Hi, my name is Marian Yasuda, and I'm representing the Hawaiian Ultra Running Team. And we have only one area. Oh, yeah, we have one area of a road crossing, if you will. It's about 100 feet where we cross the road up at the top of Tantalus from the Nahuina trailhead to the Kalawahini trailhead. Other than that, it's all on trails, 100 miles on trails.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Eric?
I myself am a part of the HURT Trail Series, at the smaller races that lead up to the 100-mile race. I'm not quite there yet at the 100-mile race, but I'm working towards that. It's a phenomenal organization. The community within the HURT community, they provide so much back to the community as far as clearing the trails, maintaining them, and just getting more people involved, being outdoors and healthy lifestyles. I couldn't say anything better than they are the best unknown organization Hawaii has, and I'm very proud that they're in our backyard. So thank you.
So much. Thank you.
Chair?
Yes.
So when
Richard?
is this happening? How many people are going to be running?
The
What's your
date-
time frame? I guess there are going to be some kind of road closures, or a bunch of people have to park someplace.
So the event is on January 18th and 19th. It starts 6 a.m. on Saturday, the 18th, finishes 6 p.m. on the 19th. It starts and ends at Makiki Nature Center. We do get a special duty officer at the road crossing at the top of Tantalus. Other than that, it really doesn't impact the community. There is 135 runners that are registered, typically about 130 start. By the end of the race, there's a 55 to 60 left. Everybody else has decided to call it quits. So there's not a lot of impact people-wise. You probably won't notice anything.
And have you folks done this before? And is this
This
every
is,
year.
this is our 25th annual.
25th. Okay,
Yeah.
so everything sounds like everything's been going smooth up to now. All right. Okay.
Okay, we'll go. Paul.
I just want to ask, is there any place where we can go and cheer people on, or is there any public access to appreciate and watch this amazing event? Wow.
Well, it's not like a super exciting spectator event, but it is kind of fun to watch at certain
Yeah.
points. So Makiki Nature Center is the biggest hub, if you will, but we also have an aid station at Manoa Paradise Park in the parking lot there. And then we also have our other aid station at the Jackass Ginger Judd Trailhead in Nu'uanu. So you could
Thank
go
you.
to any of those places. And like I said, it's not really like super exciting, but it's kind of interesting.
Sounds very inspirational. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
You're welcome.
Okay, at this point, are there any objections or abstentions from the motion to support? Oh, okay. All right, seeing none, it's adopted. The support is adopted by unanimous consent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we'll go on to City and County of Honolulu elected official reports. Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Denise Isari Matsubara.
Hi, aloha. Good evening. So for this month's highlights from the mayor's newsletter, hopefully you have the newsletter. There's an update on the operations and ongoing construction on Oahu's rail transit system. In June, it celebrated its first full year of operations for Skyline. The first phase of the interim operations running from Kapolei to Aloha Stadium has been completed. It's been a year filled with plenty of important milestones, and Skyline has already welcomed aboard more than 1 million riders. Around the same time, HART, the agency responsible for building future segments of the rail, began testing and trial running the next segment, which is going to be between Halawa to Middle Street. It includes stops at the entrance to Pearl Harbor and the airport. The city unveiled Ala Respite. That's its newest facility aimed at addressing homelessness. This is the former First Hawaiian Bank building on King Street near downtown Honolulu. It's staffed with a full medical team. Ala Respite reduces the strain on EMS and emergency room resources across the island and features 32 treatment beds inside, while the parking lot outside has converted 30 kauhale or tiny homes so that these vulnerable individuals can receive essential medical treatment. So the Waikiki Shell will be temporarily closed for facility upgrades from this month until late March 2025 so that HECO can replace its electrical transformer. And also the city will be renovating the orchestra pit, fronting the stage to improve drainage and create additional space for movable seating. What all of you might find of interest is that the sewer service charges will be increasing. The city's Department of Environmental Services plans to increase its sewer service charges for all residential and commercial customers in fiscal year 26, which begins July 1, 2025. The Environmental Services Department, or ENV, wishes to present information to all upcoming neighborhood board meetings on the reasons for the increase. So they have instructed me to ask the chairs to contact Roger Babcock or Mike O'Keefe and they give their email address, and not sure if Jackson Coley, so the Neighborhood Board Commission, can provide you with that information. The phone number to contact is also 768-3486 to set up your board's presentation so you can ask questions. Also, the Neighborhood Commission Office, they have a neighborhood plan committee which began meeting to conduct a comprehensive review of the neighborhood plan. A presentation with more information is available in your board's Google Drive. The committee currently meets on the third Monday of every month at 6 p.m. So if you have any question, please contact the NCO. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any questions? We got time for a couple. Starting with the board. Okay, seeing one from the audience. If you could come to the microphone, please. Thank you very much.
So it's a question, I guess, for the mayor as towards this actually 1427 Ernest Street for the Bill 7 project, and this goes with other buildings getting put up. Is there a percentage of what affordable units in those buildings have to be under the workforce, or there's they say like 80% of the AMI or IMA, and then there's the other 20, maybe Section 8 or other people. Is it possible for you to provide us what that percentage is for Ernest Street? And if it's a lot less than 80% of the workforce being in that building, what do we do? How do we make sure that that's being accompanied by that rule so that we get people that are affordable, in that qualifications to sit in those units versus putting, Section 8 or other people in there where it's costing us as taxpayers to pay the difference, because the units at 1,500 for 230 square feet doesn't seem to be normal for the neighborhood. And they're asking 1,500, but are we paying that difference? But I wanted to make sure that the owner or developers are putting in the 80% of people that should be in there versus bringing everybody else in that shouldn't be. Is that possible? To respond.
Go ahead.
Thank you for the question. Is it Rich Kaz? So that's a really good question, and I hope to maybe inform. I know at least one of your community members has been very astute in researching the bill and understanding it. So for Bill 7, it doesn't say it has to be at 80% AMI. It says up to. Yeah, so up to 100% AMI. There is no specification for workforce. There is an intention to provide it for that level, but there's no requirement. Bill 7 is a by right housing for buildings zoned in apartment and business mixed use districts. It's 20% of the project, 80% of the project has to be at least up to 100% AMI. They can't go over it. It's not a minimum threshold. So from 0 to 100% AMI is allowed under that bill. It's hard, I think, to make it pencil at the very low AMI. So most projects try to get tenants at least 80% AMI, but there's no prohibition against taking lower AMIs. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, we have time for, one more question. Thank you.
And Denise, this is for you too, because I'm still having trouble getting my head around the contract time for that requirement that it would be low income before it goes to market rate.
Sorry, if we could have your name, please.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Thank you
and
so much.
smoke. Yeah. So that can you talk about how long is that the low income housing rental in the contract before it goes to full market rate?
So I don't know about any contracts, but the Bill 7 calls for affordability for 15 years to enjoy the benefits of the subsidy that comes with now Bill 3, used to be Bill 1. But that's a 15-year affordability requirement.
Okay.
Just a quick comment.
ahead.
Please tell the The mayor, thank you very much for the Ala Respite Center and all they do for that area and the community. So thank you.
I will pass that message on. Thank you very much. Good to hear.
Okay, I apologize. I know there's a few more burning questions at hand, but in the interest of time, if you could go ahead and ask her outside of the board meeting. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and move on to Councilmember Calvin Say. Do we have a member of Calvin Say's office here? Chastity?
Hi, Chair. Thank you so much for waiting. Sorry, I was waiting a moment to see if some member was going to be hopping on. So we did receive some emails over the past month, and sorry that we weren't able to join you last month, but mainly we had some questions about, again, 1525 Liho Street. So as Board Member Chuckley mentioned, that HPD was able to get in contact with the property owner and that area has been cleared. And then also we did want to report that Makiki Stream, there is ongoing efforts with DFM and HPD, and just on Tuesday an additional cleanup was conducted. And I believe they said about 4 citations were issued. So other than that, no large items to report, but we're here to take any questions, comments, or concerns.
Okay, so I believe we have time for a question. Ian.
Yes, really briefly. I know we've been CCing you in the emails. We are moving closer to getting a outside of meeting discussion with Director Thielen related to the designation of Puno Square as a dog park. I know the term's coming to a close pretty soon, but I hope that you'll continue to work with us through the rest of the month with that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem, Ian. Just keep it on in contact with us, and we're happy to be there.
Okay, do we have one more question for Calvin Say's office? Seeing none, if you have any questions that you didn't get to ask, go ahead and please take it up with Calvin Say's office outside of the board meeting. Thank you very much, Chastity. We'll go ahead and move on to Councilmember Tyler DeSantos Tam's office.
Hello, Robin Hensky. So a couple of things. So I've included our newsletter in the chat. So it's this month's newsletter. A couple of notable items are we will have another little fire ant meeting in October 30th. Our office previously had one in September, focused on the Papakolea area. This will be the Makiki area. It will take place at the Catholic Charities headquarters. I think Senator Fukunaga or Representative Della Bellotti will speak on that more. I know Senator Fukunaga's office is kind of spearheading this particular meeting. Number 2, I know Member Ross just touched on this point, but our office is also engaging with Director Thielen, and I love the initiation on Member Ross's part on coordinating this effort in potentially making Punho Square Park a dog park. So, and then thirdly, our office has introduced legislation regarding e-bikes with fellow Councilmember Augie Toba. With the recent injuries and deaths, I know everyone's seen on the news, there's a push for classifying these different motorized devices, and our office is working on that. We've had internal meetings within council and with other state entities, and just a few questions that you guys have mentioned and that we are considering, which is the various definitions, the classifications, classifying dangerous behavior, where these devices can be operated, and potentially registration and licensing of these various vehicles. And keeping up this legislation in real time with the different industry devices that are coming out almost, annually. So it's government trying to keep track of all these devices and making common sense legislation. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, I'm here. That's my report.
Okay, starting with Ian.
I want to commend the city council for passing that resolution several months ago to get a task force on that issue of the illegal game rooms. Of course, this board has helped push and support resolutions on that. My understanding, things informed largely from you, is that this task force has now issued its advice, its recommendations on what sort of policy should be taken by the city council to address this issue. Can I ask if there's been any movement yet to draft new bills taking these recommendations? Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mute myself. So not at the moment. I know our former bills 57 and 58 are kind of stalled, but with the new recommendations of the task force, we're going to try to integrate the recommendations with new bills, hopefully in the beginning of 2025. Yeah.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Okay, if you could come up and state your name.
Hi, my name is Michelle Luke. I'm one of the homeowners at Kahali Moi. Several weeks ago, some of us met with Mr. Dos Santos Tam concerning the proposed 1617 Alapa'i project. And we very much appreciated the time that was given to us that evening. I wondered if you had any update as a follow-up to that meeting in terms of whether he's been able to reach out to DPP. I believe he was also intending to reach out to Mr. Lamb. I thought he had a meeting actually scheduled already with Mr. Lamb for that week. And I think the third item we were still waiting on is information about the Bill 7 task force, which we understood Mr. Lamb to be a part of, as well as his architect and structural engineer. So if you have any update for us, we would very much appreciate that.
Okay, so yes, we're scheduling the 2 meetings with Developer Lamb and with DPP. No movement since I know the last meeting you've had with Councilmember and our Constituent Services Director, Lynn Robinson. We're still trying to plan with, coordinate with everyone's schedules on touching base and trying to get all the information on the table for you guys, because I know this is important. Yeah.
Okay.
But when we have a meeting scheduled, I will circle back with the board, definitely.
Okay, we very much appreciate your assistance. Thank you.
Okay, in the interest of time, if everyone could go ahead and if they have any more questions, feel free to take it up with Tyler Dos Santos Tam's office outside of the board meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Robin. Moving on to State of Hawaii elected official reports. Governor Josh Green's representative, Russell Pang.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Chair. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thanks again for having Governor's office at your meeting. Always appreciated. I want to start by saying thanks to the Nice Neighborhood Committee for giving that update on efforts to clear the DHHL, Department of Hawaiian Homeland's land in the Punchbowl area around Prospect Street, especially by the Royal Vista condominium, as well as by the Lincoln Elementary School. Last week, several state departments did work together to try to clear out the area of the homeless encampments, including the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, Department of Land and Natural Resources, and the Department of Transportation's homeless outreach team. So we really appreciate everybody's efforts from the community to work with the various state departments to clear out that area. We know it's a big concern, especially to the residents that live right nearby, as well as to the schools. So we're going to continue to work with the departments on that outreach effort. And again, we appreciate the community's efforts, as well as the Nice Neighborhood Committee's updates on that. Speaking of the homeless outreach, I know last month there was a request to have John Mizuno, the governor's homeless coordinator, attend one of the neighborhood board meetings. He is interested. It's just a matter of getting his schedule freed up. So please be patient while we work to coordinate a schedule. He said that he did appreciate meeting with the Nice Neighborhood Committee, whether it was a month or so ago, and a lot of good discussions from that. And he hopes that the committee can share, continue to share information from that discussion with the rest of the board. Finally, I just wanted to say that we, at the Department of Transportation, we are getting ready to expand a program to work with community volunteer groups to clean up graffiti on state highway facilities, docking the bridges, the overpasses, things like that. I know the Lions Club has previously assisted with cleanup efforts, especially on the Keomoko Street overpass. And they worked with the Department of Transportation. We've provided paint and supplies. So we're getting ready to expand that program. Hopefully I'll have more information on that next month for all of you. But in the meantime, if anybody is interested or you know a group who might want to volunteer, please contact me directly. I'll be happy to work on that. And I will put the governor's newsletter in the chat room. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have time for, looks like, one question. Do we have any questions for the governor's representative? Paul.
Very constituent brought this to my attention. I think we all remember that horrible thing that happened in Chaplain Towers South condominium in Florida that collapsed and killed almost 100 people. There's a building in Makiki that I did go and take a look at, and the weight-bearing pillars are falling apart in the basement physically. You can see the rerotting now, and it's terrified me, and I promise I'd bring it up. I don't know who at the state or city and county. I tried to call DPP, and no one seemed to want to. Honestly, they kind of brushed me off. So who would I talk to at the state to get some attention to this building? The boards of the building itself seems to be familiar with it, but they realize the costs, and they're really kicking the can down the road past the point of sanity. So I wanted to know who I would talk to. I'll take one for the team on it because it's dangerous.
Yes, Paul. I'll have to look into that. I'm not exactly sure who at the state level might be able to address that, but I'll try to see if there is a state agency that oversees that.
If I followed up to give you a call at your office, Russell, what would be a good time? I can get your number through the switchboard, but when should I bug you? End of the week, next week? When's good for you?
Anytime next week is fine. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
You got it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and access. Aloha.
Sure. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, and that's all the time I believe we have for Russell Pang. If you have any other questions for Russell Pang, be sure to take it up outside the board meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Russell. Moving on to Senator Carol Fukunaga's office.
Aloha, everyone. I wanted to kind of follow up on the Little Fire Ants event that we had at Stevenson Middle School a couple of weeks ago. The area in Makiki Heights is in and around the Nehoa Street area, and the area right above Roosevelt High School, Makiki Heights Drive, and Lower Tantalus. And so that's one of the reasons that we are hosting this next event on October 30th at the Catholic Charities headquarters, formerly First Presbyterian Church, between 6 and 7:30 p.m. Della and Tyler were also at the last event, and what was really very beneficial at that event was we learned just how dangerous these little fire ants are, because they're stinging ants that are different from a lot of the species that we may have been familiar with in the past. They can also cause blindness in pets and severe bites with children. They spread by hitching rides on plants, green waste, and other materials that are moved from infested locations. And so the reason that we're putting a big kind of push on this is that October is Little Fire Ants Month, And so most people don't realize that these fire ants can actually, inhabit trees, locations that are not limited to the ground. And so part of the purpose of the forum is to hear from some of the ant lab experts and actually to see what the kits to identify these ants' presence within your property could be, and then get that information to the ant lab and all of our resource people as quickly as possible. So apart from that, I'm happy to take questions.
Eric?
Hi, yes, my name is Eric. I was actually the first one to report little fire ants in my neighborhood on Round Top Drive. I had noticed them back in 2001. Reported it to Chris at the Hawaii Ant Lab, and I have since learned how to treat my neighborhood. So I volunteered, and I'm on my second application. You apply the bait once a month. And so I've been actively working to eradicate them from Round Top Drive. I cover about a 3 square acre area on Lower Round Top Drive. So I have the approval from all my neighbors to apply the bait to their properties and all adjoining neighborhood properties in that area. They are a nasty, nasty ant. The sting hurts. I've been stung many times. You bump into a tree and they'll actually fall and rain down on the back of your neck. So we do not want this ant spreading. Hence why I volunteered to be the main point on eradicating them from my neighborhood, because I live on Round Top Drive. They haven't quite made it over to my house, but they are about 3 houses away from me. Once they're in your yard, they're very hard to get rid of, but it takes about 8 months to essentially eradicate them from the area. So we just definitely need everybody to keep an eye out for them. If you have bites that you don't know what's from, maybe it could be from an ant, please report it. Get the kits from the Hawaii Ant Lab or the Invasive Species Committee. So please reach out to us here at the Neighborhood Board Committee too. If you notice any fire ants, we need to address them right away. The quicker we get on it, the better. Thank you.
Thank you for that direct expression of, what it takes. This initial set of discussions is really to kind of educate neighbors as well as give people sample little fire ant detection kits. So please come join us on October 30th. It's a Wednesday evening, and it's right up the street above at the top of Keamoku and Nehoa Street.
Okay, thank you very much. In the interest of time, if you have any questions for the senator, please be sure to take it up outside the neighborhood board meeting. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Carol. Okay, moving on to Representative Della Bellatti's office.
Good evening, Nate. Tom Heinrich on behalf of Representative Della Bellatti. Aloha, members. A lot of things going on. I apologize for not being there in person like the last couple of months. The first announcement on behalf of Representative Bellotti is that a second community meeting by Zoom was held from 3:30 to 5 o'clock this afternoon on what she and Representative Amy Peruso especially are leading, entitled Crafting a People's Budget. So this was the second workshop. And it is focusing on a number of the challenges that especially will be faced by the state budget process in the next couple of years, particularly based on the very large tax cut that was authorized by House Bill 2402 just a little while ago this year. Anyway, that is something that I did see a few members of the board join in this afternoon on the participants list. And the next meeting that will both be in person for the first time, but also continue on Zoom is scheduled also for Wednesday, October 30. The time is not yet set, nor the place, but it most likely for the in-person portion may be in Mililani in Representative Peruso's district. But again, it will also continue on Zoom, and it was also live broadcast on Olelo Channel 55. So a recording of today's meeting is also on Olelo's YouTube channel for on-demand viewing. Secondly, just a reminder, of course, to everybody, we are all extraordinarily fatigued, but please vote on November 5 or whenever you get the ballots in the mail shortly. So the general election and wrapping up this election season is on Tuesday, November 5. And just a reminder, Representative Bellotti thanks the voters of this district in as much as one, she was uncontested, which was unexpected, and duly elected then at the August 10 primary election. So she is not on the general election ballot. Let's see, you've already got the reminders from Senator Carol Fukunaga and Robin Henske on the Wednesday, October 30 Little Fire Ants meeting. It is very informative for the experts who will be there. And Chris, I appreciate your comments and the efforts that you're doing up on the mountain already.
Oh, Tom, you there? Well, if Tom reconnects, we'll circle back to him. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and move forward with Representative Scott Nishimoto's office. Seeing no one from Scott Nishimoto's office, do we have someone from Representative Andrew Garrett's office? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to resident and community concerns. And again, if Tom is able to reconnect, we'll circle back to him. I believe we do have one community concern or announcement. Yeah, sure. Sorry.
Hello, board members and guests. I'm joined tonight by our board president, David Sell. Okay. So my name is Joyce Yang, and I'm from the United Korean Association of Hawaii. And we wanted the community in Makiki to be aware of two big upcoming events. So these are all the second annual version. So first, this Saturday, we're going to have our annual movie night showing E.T., a timeless classic. If you want to join us, it starts at 6 o'clock. We're going to sell some snacks like spam musubi, hot dog, cup ramen. We'll have popcorn, movie theater popcorn as well, and drinks. So, so please let people. We have some extra posters if anybody wants to take some. And then we're going to have our second annual Kimchi Day Festival. The website is up and ready. If you go to www.kimchifestivalhi.com, that's kimchi spelled KIMCHI, festivalhi.com. And I do have the flyers not printed. I can give that link to you. So movie night is this Saturday, October 19th from 6 o'clock. Kimchi Day Festival is next month, November 16th, starting at 11 a.m., going to 8 p.m. And we do have some confirmed attendees, such as we're going to have Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke, Representative Linda Ichiyama, and Councilmember Havin Say there, sharing a few words. We'll have music. We'll have student volunteers from Moanalo Middle and High School. The orchestra will be playing actually from the middle school, and hula and K-pop dancers and food vendors. So please, any questions?
Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on. I've got one more quick.
Can we
announce-
possibly call the recess now? Is that possible? Or are you about to give a community?
Yeah,
announcement?
I'm about to. Yeah, I'm gonna do one more because there was reported a community member came to me, but we have a missing person in our community, possibly. So her name is Mila, Meela, Kobashigawa, Kobashigawa. I will distribute this, or at least I'll ask Curtis to distribute this information, and hopefully we can get it to folks who signed up for alerts on our table over there. So she's an Asian looking lady, age 16 years old, height 4 foot 10 inches, weight 98 pounds, dark brown hair, brown eyes. She looks Japanese. So if you see someone that fits this description, I've got a picture here and hopefully we'll send it around. Okay, thank you very much. And we have one. Okay, we'll go ahead and take this. And if you could start with your name, please.
Hi, aloha. My name is Sherry Hauser. I'm a current employee at the Hilton Hawaiian Village for the past 18 years. Hilton Hawaiian is a Unite Here Local 5 property. Our union contract is up, and after about 4 months of unsuccessful negotiations, 1,800 of us walked off our jobs. We've been on strike since the 24th of September, which is 24 days in a labor dispute. It's hard work. Walking back and forth, chanting, singing on the picket line, not to mention the financial disparity that we're all facing right now with 24 days. It takes a village to come together, and we march in solidarity. Hilton, this property is no longer owned by Hilton. It's owned by Park Hotel and Resorts. It's a mainland real estate investment trust that focuses on the revenue and profit margins for its shareholders. Park took advantage of us after COVID with cuts, staffing, guest service, perks went away, amenities for guests, cuts that affected our workload in all departments and jeopardized a safe working environment. Every day, thousands of hospitality workers struggle to get ahead and can't provide the level of service our guests deserve and pay for. We're fighting for a livable wage. We want our permanent layoffs restored. We're overworked, understaffed, undervalued. We're asking for our community, friends, relatives, not to cross our picket lines. No staycations, parties, events. Instead, please support our local working class and the families of this island community. These are real struggles that we're facing right now. Please support Hawaii's striking working class by, if anyone would like to donate to our Hardship Fund. This is the email address that you can, the web link you can go to. So it's Unite Here, local5.org. I thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hello.
Okay, we'll go with one more. We're running out of time. Go for it.
Okay, I'll make it fast. My name is Nancy. I'm a longtime Makiki resident. This is my first time, so if I'm approaching this wrong, I'm sorry. There is an extraordinary amount of racing going on King Street. Yeah, there is, you can see the burn marks, the spin out marks, and for 3 years, I've been dealing with this issue. Tipsy Pig Bar is part of a racing club, and they park in front of the bar every Saturday night, and then they race up and down. Sometimes they go the wrong way. I live right there. My property and my residential and commercial property is right there. So they are burnout. The smoke comes in my house. I've been calling HPD. I've called the commission. I've called numerous places, and nothing has gotten done. This is a serious issue. They speed up and down Palm Drive and Akala Lane are very small roads in between Pi'ikoi and Keamoku, and people don't like to have to go all the way down to Pi'ikoi or all the way down to Keamoku, so they go down these small little roads and they speed down them, and this is all day every day. So I am requesting 2 things. I'm requesting speed bumps for Palm Drive and Akala Lane because it's dangerous and there are children over there. And there's a school over there called Namaka K-Prep right on the corner. And again, the speeding, which I have so much police reports and evidence, video evidence, photographs. I've got so much evidence, it's ridiculous. It's almost every Saturday night and sometimes other days. Because, like I said, the owners of the managers of, not the owners, but the managers of the club are part of this racing group. They're there all the time. And it's a serious issue. And I would like to put that on the agenda for speed bumps
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So we can't.
and
This.
HPD to address it.
Yes. Yes. So we can't address this right now. I know we have a super packed agenda for November. I will. I cannot. I'll add it to the agenda because this is a huge safety concern, and we'll see where we can go from there.
Yeah, you can go out there and you can see
Yeah.
the spin marks.
Yeah, I can hear them.
Yeah.
So.
And I have a lot of residents near me who are willing to sign whatever. They sent me up here.
Yeah.
I'm their face, but they're willing to sign whatever's necessary.
Yeah. So so I will put this on the agenda for next month. Please show up then, and hopefully we can delve deeper into the meat of this matter. And,
Okay, and
also-
if someone can just let me know what I need to do or how to approach this.
Right. Yeah, and also talk to Harris. He'll be happy to work with you because we are running short of time. So
Great. Thank you for your
very
time.
much. No,
I
yeah, thank you
appreciate it.
so much. Okay. Paul, did you have a resident community concern, or were you looking
Very
to follow up?
briefly, regarding that woman who just spoke, I put it on the chat. If you forward my name and number, being with HPD and also being on the board, I'd love to help her out, help other people with similar situations. And there's a lot of shortcuts to resolve this.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Do we have a community? Oh, I don't see Chuck here. So we'll go ahead and move on from the security watch to, do we have anything new on the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization, John? Okay. No. Okay. We'll go ahead and call a recess for the candidate forum. To bang the gavel. Okay. Okay. Okay, and we'll go ahead and move into our candidate forum. Just before we start, do we have, I believe I see, is that Jeffrey? Jeffrey Imamura, and do we have Andrew Garrett?
I'm here, Chair. Good evening.
Awesome. And we'll go ahead and kick this off with the District 22. Aloha and welcome everyone to tonight's Makiki-Tantalus Lower Punchbowl Neighborhood Board Candidate Forum. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. I'm Nathan Char. I'll be the moderator. Curtis, would you be so kind as to be our timekeeper really quick? And if we have any time for audience questions, we will try and field those. If they have any, the audience has any questions you'd like to ask candidates, put those questions in the chat, and if there's time, we'll go ahead and address those. Paul.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, but can someone go down and unlock the door? During meetings, the door has to remain unlocked, but if someone could run down and unlock it, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, for the rules, we have, I'll go ahead and start with our vision statement. A safe and healthy community with a lay of parks connected by roads, sidewalks, and public transportation, where daily life is not interrupted by loud vehicles and other obnoxious noises, where all community members are valued, including the least fortunate, and where residents are proud to live. So that's kind of the community that we strive for. Bearing that in mind as we go through the candidate forum tonight, the rules are: number one, each candidate will attend the October 17th meeting virtually and be provided the link to the meeting prior to the date of the meeting. This is a forum and not a debate. You will be asked a question and you will have time to respond. There will be no rebuttal or interaction between candidates. All candidates must appear online to maximize access to our community members and to mitigate potential technical difficulties switching between venues. Each candidate gets 2 minutes at the start of the forum to speak generally on their goals platforms. Questions have been prepared and additional questions will be allowed from the audience if time allows. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question. The timekeeper will provide a 10-second warning in the chat, so you'll have to monitor the chat while you speak. The timekeeper will mute your mic once the allotted time has expired. If technical difficulties occur so as to interrupt the time you have to respond, the timekeeper will make a note of the time you have left at the time of the interruption, and you will be allowed to complete your response within the time you have left as noted by the timekeeper. Finally, each candidate will have 2 minutes at the end of the forum for a concluding statement. Okay, and so I guess for now we'll go by order. So for HC22, I'll ask a question, and then we'll just start with Andrew Garrett and then Jeffrey Imamura. So starting with the first question, what is a key policy you will pursue to help Makiki become a safe and healthy community with reference to our vision statement? Andrew Garrett.
I just want to express my gratitude for the chair for hosting, or the neighborhood board itself for hosting this community forum, or this candidate forum. I think it's really important that the voters hear from us directly as candidates. And I know you folks did this 2 years ago, and again, I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. In terms of the vision statement, I think one of the things that we need to acknowledge, first of all, is that when you talk about, health and, a safe and healthy community, number one, it starts with housing. I've tried in my very first term to come up with solutions to tackle our housing problem. Obviously, it's a situation that has not just sprung up overnight, but it has happened. This is something that has happened over many decades. And we do need to try to figure out ways to get truly affordable housing for our residents. We have a very serious problem when it comes to out-migration. So I am looking forward to continue to work with my colleagues in that regard to make sure that we can stem that flow and that my kids, Mr. Imamura's kids, can continue to live in Hawaii and call this a place where they can thrive. Thank you.
And thank you very much. I apologize. I started with the first question and did not go with allowing you guys your opening statement. Because I goofed, we'll go ahead and have Jeffrey take the first question as well, and then we'll circle back to Garrett giving the opening statement and then Jeffrey. My apologies. Jeffrey, if you could go ahead and answer the first question again.
Right on, right on. I love it. It's like being in education. I'm like a block away from where you guys are right now. And so Makiki, I'm right at the edge between both Manoa and Makiki. So I understand the desire for safety. One of the biggest things that I would like to push for is your own personal safety, right? We've got a lot of different elements in the Makiki neighborhood that contribute to it being unsafe, contribute to it being not healthy. And one of those things is just simply crime. I would love to be able to take my son to Makiki Park, and we have. I would love for him to be out there and play on the jungle gym and, do these kinds of things. And at the same time, too, I want him to feel safe and I want him to feel protected. And I want you as a neighborhood to feel safe wherever you go. And so one of the big things that I want to push is a stand your ground type thing where you should have the ability to protect yourself. You should have the ability to feel safe. You should have the ability to go about your day, walk around your community and your parks with that sense of security. And, God bless HPD. They're great at what they do, but in the immediate, you need to be protected. And so that's one of the biggest things that I think would help our neighborhood be that much safer.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer for the first question. And like I said, we'll go ahead and circle back to the opening statement, starting with Andrew Garrett.
This is not awkward at all. No, thank you, Chair. No, just, being elected to represent this community in District 22 in the State House has been the honor of a lifetime. I think we've accomplished a lot of great things. One of the things I'm particularly proud of is passing a historic tax cut. We talk about helping working families all the time, and I know the legislature has not always delivered on that front, but we walk the talk this time. This tax cut is going to put literally billions of dollars in the pockets of working families in Hawaii, and that's something we need to continue to do. I mentioned in the first question the issue about out-migration. This is something that has to be top of mind. We have to tackle this with the whole of community approach. We can't afford to lose any more people. The trend is really alarming now. When you talk about the people who just gave up because they can't afford to call Hawaii home anymore. So that is what I'm going to continue to focus on to make sure the families can call Hawaii home. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. And now if I could have Jeffrey with your opening statement. You have 2 minutes.
Sure thing. My name is Jeff Imamura, Republican running against Andrew Garrett for District 22 in Manoa. Hopefully some of you recognize me from the last time that we were here and the last time we had this, forum. Last time and last election cycle, I offered change, something different from the status quo. And this year, I'm here once again to offer a change to the status quo. I'm here to be a voice for you. As was stated, there wasn't an opponent to hear another side of your stories in your district. And that's a little bit unfortunate, and sometimes it can't be helped. And so, even though officially we're in 2 different districts, we're neighbors, right? And as a city as a whole and as a state as a whole, right, we all need to come together and we all share struggles and burdens that is not just exclusive to Makiki, it's not just exclusive to Manoa, but it affects all of us. And so I'm here running again, been out there, maybe you've seen me a couple of times. And again, I'm just here to offer a different approach and a change to the status quo that's been in Hawaii for the past 70 years.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeffrey, for your opening statement. Now for the second question, starting with Andrew Garrett. Since COVID, the homeless have become a problem in Makiki. What is one step you will take to help alleviate homelessness? You have 1 minute.
Okay, thanks for the question. I mean, I think this is top of mind for all of us. In the earlier answers, I did mention affordable housing, truly affordable housing. I mean, that's going to be the longer term solution. We clearly have a supply issue here. We can't meet the demand, and that's why people are leaving, and that's why rents are so high and property values are so high. I mean, there might be some people who benefit from it, but longer term, we do need to continue to push to make sure we have truly affordable housing. Short term, a lot of the homeless do tend to have mental health issues, so we need to make sure that we have facilities and providers who can provide care to make sure that these people are not a threat to themselves or to others around them. It's part of I know a lot of the day-to-day issues with homeless is kind of handled at the city and county level, but I think at the state level, at the legislature, there's an opportunity to fund a lot of worthy programs. There's a lot of nonprofits that are doing really good work in this space, so I like to continue to give them resources to tackle this issue. Transitional housing is something else we need to continue to invest in. I do appreciate the governor having a homeless coordinator to try to, bring in shelters for people that are experiencing homelessness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. And then now for Jeffrey. Since COVID, the homeless have become a problem in Makiki. What is one step you will take to help alleviate homelessness?
Sure, thank you. Biggest thing is very similar to what Representative Garrett said. It's get them the help that they need, not the help that they want. So when it comes to homelessness, it could be any number of situations. It's mental health. It's just down on their luck. It is they're stuck, right? So I would like to see an approach where we can get them the help that they need at the time that they are in need of it, right? So whether that's doing outreaches back to their families, providing some kind of medical stipend to help families take back in their own loved ones, their own blood relatives to help out. That means, showing compassion that may look like tough love, right? Some of these people, they were sent here, and that's a burden that we have to carry as taxpayers, as citizens of the state of Hawaii and of the city and county of Honolulu, and that's unfair. We have our kuleana to our own ohana that we need to put at the forefront. So that means helping to, figure out how to help these people and how to help connect them back to their family and their relatives, wherever they may be, on the mainland, in another country. And we can use those kinds of resources to help get them back to the help that they get where they're from in order to focus back on our homeless population here in Hawaii.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeffrey. Moving on to the third question, starting with Andrew Garrett. While it's a relief that 1421 Pensacola was finally cleaned up, it is still frustrating that so many more homes in Makiki are poised to become the same. What is one step you will take to help solve the problem of abandoned homes?
You know, just in the interest of fairness, I know I've been going first all the time. I'd actually see if Mr. Imamura would like to go first to take one question. So I'll offer that.
Absolutely. Jeffrey, would you like to take him up on that offer?
Yeah, no problem, man. I get this. It's like being in school and you got to call on the next kid first. It's totally
Okay,
the
yeah,
same
go
thing.
for it.
Yeah. All right. So 1421 Pensacola, I went to school in Roosevelt, so I know Pensacola Street. We used to walk down that way to go to Ala Moana. And so I get it. Like abandoned houses, that one. There was one closer to Mott Smith a while back too. Um, honestly, it's just putting it back on the onus of the homeowner or whoever is on the documented that says that they own the property, right? And whatever kind of red tape exists on the city level or on the state level, we need to cut through that because, as you guys were saying, people were using it as a dumping ground. People from the community or people from outside the community just saw, oh, no one's going to check on this place, so we're just going to leave all of our things there, right? And that's not right, and that's not fair. And so one of the biggest things is to just cut through all of that red tape, initiate some kind of welfare check. We need to have some kind of updated contact for the property owner and let them know, like the fines that they issued to 1421 obviously didn't work out that well. It had to come up to the point where the city had to come in and actually condemn the property in order for something to be done. So we need to expedite this kind of process to make sure that, again, safety and health of our community and of your community, that kind of thing can't really happen. So cut through the red tape. Let's expedite this process, and we have the resources to do it, I think.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeffrey. We'll go on to Andrew Garrett for his answer to, while it's a relief that 1421 Pensacola was finally cleaned up, it is still frustrating that so many more homes in Makiki are poised to become the same. What is one step you will take to help solve the problem of abandoned homes?
Sure. Thanks for the question. And yeah, I agree actually with what Mr. Imamura said there. You know, we do need to figure out ways to streamline enforcement. Again, you know, a lot of this is going to be done at the city and county level, but I think one thing we can do at the state level is try to streamline the foreclosure process itself. As Mr. Imamura noted, you know, there was you know, daily fines that were racked up on this property. I think 1421 was unique in many ways because I think the homeowner there was mentally ill. I mean, you could, you know, I saw reports about him kind of, you know, sneaking in through a window, living in the kind of that hoarder house. So it might have been a unique situation, but the fact is, you know, the fines accumulated, and I think it reached over 6 figures, if I'm not mistaken, before the city finally came in and condemned the property and foreclosed upon it and finally tore it down, thankfully. But if there are opportunities to streamline the whole foreclosure process, I think it's worth looking at the state level. That is something that we can do at the legislature. I'd obviously want to work with the city and county and our counterparts in on the city council to try to figure out ways that we could help them, because I know it's a very frustrating situation for all the neighbors. I mean, I used to drive down you know, Pensacola when I'd make my way to Ala Moana, for example, and I would drive by that house and just kind of shake my head and, you know, just kind of feel for the neighbors who had to deal with vermin and other issues from that very unsightly, unsanitary situation. So again, I think the key is going to obviously be enforcement, but also trying to figure out ways to streamline the foreclosure process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Okay, I believe we might have time for one question if anybody has a question, and it will be posed to both of them. And then I guess since we had Andrew Garrett starting first twice, we'll have Jeffrey go ahead and start the answer with this audience question. We have Ian.
Thank you very much. Aloha to both the candidates. Thank you so much for being here with us. One of the purviews of the state is public health. This is on my mind. It's something I work in professionally. I have an aging parent at home, and I want to know, and you know, Hawaii has what's sometimes called the silver tsunami. We also have very high rates of chronic disease. So I'd like to hear about one or two policies that you would champion if elected to support the public health of our community. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start with Jeffrey. You have 1 minute.
Right on. Thank you for your question, Ian. Public health, the longevity, you know, Hawaii's been voted the happiest place and the healthiest place, and that's why we have the silver tsunami, and that's an increase in the elderly population. I think providing appropriate foods and meals to our kupuna and to our elderly is going to be one of those things that gets them going. I think having your space in Makiki, having those rec centers and having these programs available and open to our elderly to get them physically active again is going to be a big boost in their overall health, not just physical, but mental and emotional. And, I want to pave the way to make sure that, just like when you call for a handy van or you call for a taxi or you call for an Uber, why don't we do the same thing? We can get a shuttle set up for the elderly in our community. Let's bring them to the rec center where you guys are right now. Let's have some activities set up for them, maybe at low cost or maybe for free in the beginning just to get interest, and let's roll it out from there. But those are the kinds of things. And, my mom is getting up there in age too, and I too have those same concerns that you have about an aging elderly population. And I want her to live a long time and be grandma for a very long time more.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeffrey. And then we'll go on to Andrew Garrett's answer.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Member Ross. Public health is something I'm very passionate about. Before running for office, I did spend several years working in healthcare policy with the Healthcare Association. And I know, I know this isn't not a debate, but I think one area where me and Mr. Imamura differ is regarding the threat of vaping amongst our youth in Hawaii. I've proudly co-sponsored legislation to try to ban flavored vape products because this is an epidemic. I've seen studies that 1 in 3 high school students in Hawaii are vaping right now, and this really is a gateway into tobacco use. So we finally we're able to beat big tobacco after decades, and now they're just trying to do the same playbook with vaping products to hook the next generation of kids on. So when I think of public health, I want to make sure that corporations don't target youth that are impressionable and might not know any better. So I think that's really important that we try to focus on that issue next year. Regarding the silver tsunami, this is something that we should all be concerned about. As I've walked the district for the last few years, I've come upon many homes where there might be like a 90-year-old tutu living at home by herself independently, or there might be a case where a son has come back from the mainland to take care of an elderly parent. This is a real issue, and we're never going to build enough nursing homes, but we do need to figure out how to address this issue. We did pass a bill last year to convene a task force to try to look at ways to make sure that there's a plan in place so people can age in place, which is what their preference is. But a big part of that is going to be making sure we have the workforce of home health aides and certified nurse aides and whatnot to deliver that care. Because right now there's a real workforce shortage, and that's something we need to focus on. And an area I focused on is the vice chair of the labor committee last term. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I believe that's all the time we have for audience questions. So we'll go ahead and we started with Andrew Garrett for the opening statement. So we'll start with Jeffrey for his conclusion statement.
Right on. Thank you. All right. So, they say that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And you guys voted last year or last election cycle. We need to take an honest look at ourselves and our state, your neighborhood, your neighbors, your relatives. And, I tell my students this all the time. You just have to be honest. Are we better off? And are you better off? Are you less stressed or more stressed? They've always been running 7 years as one party in a one-party system. And again, I'm here, like I said in the beginning, to offer a kind of change, different perspective. And even though Representative Garrett and I can agree on a lot of things, right? Our approaches are where we come from are 2 different places. And I'm offering a chance to try something different and try something new. I'm a boots on the ground person, just like people in your neighborhood. I have a real job, face real challenges with families, with students. They come from the exact same demographics that are here in Makiki, right? I want to help you. I want to help the people because you're the interest group. I don't have lobbyists. I don't have these kinds of extra things. I have you, the community members, and you, the people who live in the neighborhood, to tell me what's going on. Like being in this board and hearing about the noise. I hear them drag racing down King Street. That's how loud they are. And I can only imagine for the woman who shared how much worse it is where she is. Okay? So while I can't represent you officially as your district representative, I can represent your voice moving forward in the legislature and moving forward in this next election. And so, just offering once again to change the status quo, vote differently this election cycle. And together, let's really make a change for Makiki, for Manoa, and ultimately for Hawaii. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeffrey Imamura. We'll go ahead with Andrew Garrett's closing statement.
Yep, thank you again. Just as I said in the beginning, I just want to thank the Makiki Neighborhood Board for hosting this candidate forum. It is important that voters hear from us directly. You know, living in representing an area like Makiki with a lot of high rises, it's very difficult to make that one-on-one connection. So I appreciate you guys creating this venue for voters to hear directly from us. As I said earlier, you know, this has been the honor of a lifetime being the representative for this area. I'm very proud of the work I was able to accomplish in my first term. You know, serving on the House Finance Committee, I was able to focus on our district needs. You know, for the elementary schools in our district, Manoa Elementary School, Noelani Elementary School, and Hokulani Elementary School. I mean, all top-notch public schools, as Mr. Imamura knows as an educator himself. You know, was able to bring several $1 million for each school in terms of capital improvement projects. For the University of Hawaii, who I'm a proud graduate of, we brought in $100 million in new funding for capital investments and repairing the physical plant of the school itself. We know that's not enough, but it was a really good start, and it's something I'm proud of during my first term. But you know, I feel like we're just getting started in addressing some of these issues. I'm excited to be part of a new wave. I mean, I'm sympathetic to Mr. Imamura's argument about change and status quo and whatnot, but I'll remind this audience that, you know, there's potentially 30 new members come into the House of Representatives over the last 2 terms, and it's 60% when you think about it. And that just tells me that there's a real generation of the next generation of leaders that are stepping up now to try to tackle these issues, because we're not content with the status quo ourselves. So, you know, I know it's the Democratic Party has been the dominant party for sure. No argument there. But there is a new generation of leaders stepping up. I like to think I'm one of them to try to put a new face to the, solving a lot of these intractable issues. So I appreciate your consideration for my candidacy. And I do want to thank Mr. Imamura for putting his name out there. You know, I've run for office a few times now. I know it's not easy. It's the sacrifice, you know, the impact on family and whatnot. So, you know, I do commend him for running, because I think it is important that voters have a choice on every single race on the ballot. So again, thank you to the board, and thank you to Mr. Imamura. Thank you.
Okay, thank you both of you, Andrew Garrett and Jeffrey Imamura, for taking the time out to talk to us. Thank you so much. That's Hawaii District 22, both candidates. Okay, and moving on to the OHA. I guess who is here?
I might recommend, since we do have one of the candidates in person, that we do some rearranging of tables.
Oh, okay. Sure. In the meantime, is who online is here for as an OHA candidate? See Laura, Daniel. Okay.
We want to send up the.
Okay. Well,
if you would indulge me, I just want to share the message I got, which is the OHA Board of Trustees Oahu Community Meeting is currently running long. So many of the candidates are unable to make it for that reason.
yeah, just unfortunate timing for your neighborhood board meeting. So we have.
But I do believe it's pertinent to allow candidates who are attending in person to be able to stay seated.
Oh, yes.
I think that's
Yeah.
an advantage.
So yeah, we can go ahead and move the tables really
Very good.
quick.
Yeah. Not that, maybe more.
Yep.
Such a question on homelessness, but I got things that I work with Polly Watson.
Okay. All right. Well, you are the sole OHA candidate to make it tonight. So, let's see if you. So this is, yeah. This is Leahu Isa. She's running for. Forgive me. What is the?
At large.
Okay.
Office of Hawaiian Affairs at
Oh,
large.
if you could talk closer to the microphone.
Can you hear now? Yes. Office of Hawaiian Affairs at large.
Okay. And you'll have. You got tons of time, but you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Everybody should know who I am. I've been running for office. I ran with John long time, 1993, 94, 96, House of Rep 8 years, Board of Education State Board 8 years, and then OHA 8 years, and here I am again. Yeah, so my name and my on Facebook, all of these fourth graders, when I first ran, he's a clerk at Times Supermarket. Le Ahu Isa, please vote for Le Ahu Isa. He starts singing this song to me when I'm standing in line to pay for my groceries. I said, how do you know that song? He said, I was in the fourth grade and I remember that song. So that's how long I've been doing this. So you have questions about OHA or you want me to answer the questions I got?
It's your opening statement.
Oh, why I'm running?
Yes.
I have a really good job. People don't know about this. In fact, I live right here near Rick Blangiati, and he saw me. He said, I see your sign on the wall over here. I said, yeah, against Akina. I said, yeah, I wasn't going to run again, but Mililani Trask, who is now the trustee from Big Island, called me in December, and she said, you have to run because my opponent was filing these lawsuits. It's kind of race-based. It's a grassroots institute. They filed a lawsuit in conjunction with the Rice Cayetano lawsuit. Remember when they said everybody can vote for OHA, not only Hawaiians, they changed the whole constitution. In 1978, it was created, the Chapter 10 amendment to the Constitution to create the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. So I said, oh, I don't really want to run. I have a really good job at Hilton Grand Vacations. I have anyway, I have a really good job. I don't need to do this. And I need to retire. I already retired from university after 28 years, retired from HBU after 15 years. So it's always been my forte, education. You know, my degree, my doctorate in special ed, which is working with, well, like Ian talked about mental health, psychology, you know, it's just the ADA kids. So anyway, I figured I am pretty qualified to sit as a fiduciary. This is what trustees don't understand, what the word fiduciary means. It means you can be sued by your constituents. I mean, you are the trustee for the funds that are supposed to be for your constituents. And they think, oh no, it's our money from the revenues, which we do not get from the state, all of it. Well, you must know that too. But in 22, when Sylvia Luke was head of the finance committee, I got all of this here. As OHA approaches a culmination in 2024 of 45 years of efforts since 1978, only recently we got the 64 million that the legislature finally approved when Sylvia Luke was the finance chair, and she got some money released for housing. Even after I worked so hard to get those things, I didn't get voted back in. So this Mililani said, you gotta go run again. I said, I'm not spending anything. So I signed a statement, a pledge to the Campaign Spending Commission. I wasn't gonna spend any more than 1,000. No fundraisers, nothing. I'm just running with my name on the ballot and some old signs I've had for 30 years. My opponent has 186,000 he's running. So this is a good test. Public financing versus private donations. That's not on here, but since being in the legislature, you know, being a lawmaker, I kind of follow along what our senators are doing and our state reps.
Okay, I'll go ahead and cut you off there for your opening statement, and we'll go ahead with the questions. The first question for Lea Ahu Isa is, in line with reducing homelessness, which has become a problem in Makiki, what policy will you pursue within OHA to help reduce homelessness?
It all starts with the family. And of course, you have Hawaiian homelands. You know, the mentality, if you don't fix it, then it keeps perpetuating itself. Education is one. Getting kids involved, like what's happening here, like your district park, great, you know, like Imamura was saying and Garrett. But how they need a place to go, basketball court, swimming pool. After school, that's why they get into trouble. They don't have enough things to do. Remember when we had, you're too young to remember PAL. John, remember PAL, Police Activities League? Yes. Yeah, the police would take one portion of what every district and they would take care of these young kids. That kind of disappeared. I was a JPO in Kalikai Elementary. They don't have that anymore. Uniforms, starch our clothes, wear a black neck, the tie with the white shirts. Yeah, it was something to be proud of. And now we don't have any kind of, we never used to have people clean our rooms. We cleaned the rooms, we did the chalkboards, and we worked in the cafeteria. Likai, Kalakaua. I didn't go to Farrington. I went to Kamehameha and then Waipahu High School. I graduated Waipahu. So anyway, that's one. I was reading a vision statement too. Neighborhood Board 10, a safe and healthy community with lanes of park connected by roads, walkways, transportation, where daily life is not interrupted by loud vehicles. I live in Admiral Thomas, and that's all I hear every night. Sirens, police, drag racing down Beretania Street, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. So it goes against your vision statement for this Makiki neighborhood Florida. It's horrible.
Yep. Okay, I'll go ahead and cut you off there for your answer for the first question. And we'll go into the second question for Le'ahu Isa. In the news, we constantly hear of the waitlist for DHHL homes and the ever-increasing wait time. What policy will you pursue to shorten the waitlist and help Hawaiians get into DHHL homes?
Who created your questions, but OHA has nothing to do with DHHL. Okay. So we give them 40 million. We give them 40 million every year to pay back their debt. OHA and DHHL can get special purpose revenue bonds from the state. I didn't know that till I got into OHA. Like HPU, example, an analogy. They got a Aloha Tower because they borrowed 150 million in SPURBs, special purpose revenue bonds. Ian, you work at the ledge, you know what that is. Yeah, and so they were going to pay it back. But they couldn't. So the president who was there at that time ran away. He just left HPU, and we had to get chat right back. I was still teaching there at the time. And then we got Dr. Gotanda back in. Of course, we had, he's now working for Mayor Blangiati on the homeless issue, Sam Moku. He was with me at HPU. Then they kind of stole him, went to Rick. Now he's a homeless. But homeless, I feel it because I live right in the district across Thomas Square. And when Civil Beat did their count by time thing, they found out 30% were native Hawaiians that were homeless on the street. So that goes back to basics. Why I teach economics and I teach leadership and management skills at HPU. And part of it is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You don't satisfy that first need of shelter, food, you're never going to get up that ladder to self-actualization. If you know what I'm talking about, right? If you took psychology or sociology, the hierarchy of needs, you don't have that. More homeless and they're all Hawaiian people. That breaks my heart. I was in there and they made, all it did, they made the grants so difficult, the application questions and the requirements, that our own people couldn't even understand it. I had one lady tell me on Facebook, I'm so glad because Kai Markel is endorsing me. She said, Auntie, my son wanted to go mainland and I tried to apply, and they keep sending it back. Oh, you answered it wrong. Too strict requirements. I think worse than filling out a financial aid, what do you call that, federal assistance form for student loans. We shouldn't have to be like that. Another thing is, her name is Lisa Victor. When she was with us as a chief operating officer, we were thinking of doing an app. Wouldn't that be great to have an app on your phone that all your Hawaiian data bank in there? Then you didn't have to go every time you apply for a loan to the Board of Health to go get a birth certificate proving you're Hawaiian. It would be in the app. They can do that now with technology. And all that land we own in the front of the Malama Kukui, that whole parking lot can be built up 14 stories, because we did do a study, for rental kupuna housing, because TUD is in the back. Transit-oriented development. That means we have unlimited going up. Why are those things all being put on hold and I'm not in OHA anymore? So that's why I can talk about it, because I was there when those studies were done and they're all shelved somewhere. I can show you all these things.
I believe that's a good stopping point for the answer to question number 2. We'll go ahead and move on to question number 3. And I'm sorry, I think you've been wandering away from the mic. If you could, when you give an answer, if you could please stay near it. Question number 3. What specific policy would you like to highlight when it comes to advancing the Hawaiian community?
The last question.
What specific policy would you like to highlight when it comes to advancing the Hawaiian community?
specific policy. We have.
Oh, if you could speak into the mic, please. Thank you.
Sorry. Right now, OHA talks about Maui Ola. It's a 15-year strategic plan. It's a three-legged plan with education, health, and forget one more. But we have to look also at the fourth leg, that chapter 10 mandates us as a legal entity of the Constitution. We were created to establish EA. If you don't know what EA means, E, capital E and A, it's called self-determination and self-governance. That's why OHA was created. We weren't created to stay there forever and ever. We're supposed to have some kind of a self-governance thing. A lot of young people are picking on it now, so I'm really glad that our young Hawaiians that in Olelo, Hawaii, they can they're creating all these mini nonprofits like Purple Mai. I looked into their mission statement. Going back to look how we can get federal recognition, self-determination, self-governance. That's the kind of policy I'm looking at. Besides creating all these, there's a lot of affordable housing things going on people don't know about and the trustees don't talk about. I have the map that Kamehameha Schools gave me. I researched what they own here, what Howard Hughes owns. It's a color-coded map and the plans for the future of what Kamehameha has to do with this. I can take somebody else's turn because nobody else is here. No, if you're interested, if not, I'm sure you already know that my opponent is with a conservative, very conservative grassroots think tank. That's all I have to say. Well,
Okay.
I brought you goodies. I brought you chicken.
Okay, I guess that'll conclude the third question, and we certainly have plenty of time for any audience questions. Are there any questions in the chat?
Paul, where are you?
Okay, so there are no questions in the chat, but if any of the attendees have any questions? Any questions?
I asked the last one. I think I should ask.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
I guess, yeah. Okay, well, thank you. Yep. Okay.
I do have a simple question for you, for an audience question. So we just had the state house race election and the candidates spoke. And I think through civic education, a lot of people know what they're supposed to look at for a state house candidate. It's a number of things, but it's often things like similar values, experience, someone who understands how to navigate and work in sort of like these types of legislative organizations and assert legislative authority against the other branches in a balanced way. When I speak to people about OHA, I very often hear that they're not sure what they should be looking for when it comes to an OHA candidate. And you mentioned a bit about the trustee role. So what do you think candidates should be looking for and should be considering when they ask themselves, who should I vote for in this election? Thank you. If you could say it into the mic, that'd be very helpful. Yes.
I think candidates should know what fiduciary means. I'm not saying they should have a CPA degree or anything, but OHA went from when I first got in with Kamanao Crab to Sylvia Hussey when I left. The spectrum is extreme. It went from his cultural sensitivity, doing the Nai Puni, trying to get an election going, a Kaka bill, to stopping everything, from even giving grants out during COVID when people were dying. Hawaiians were dying. My brother's a doctor, and he said, when you die from COVID, you cannot be buried whole body. It has to be cremated because you don't know. So I had 5 Hawaiian ladies call me and say, oh, can you help me, Auntie? Because all of my relatives are up at Oahu Crematorium, and I don't have money to pay for the cremation, and we're trying to have a service at Kauai Church, and I can't get the body to go have service. Can you help me? So I just used my, I don't need OHA's money. I went up and got my American Express card. I'm not bragging. I'm just kind of answering your question. Yeah, to help them. We're supposed to help these people, not make it a mini loan. Excuse me, somebody dies from COVID. You want them to make a mini loan? So that whole grants thing has to change. That's one policy I would look into if I got elected again. 60 people quit. You know, after they did that big audit, and then they did a reorganization. They were going to get rid of a lot of our cultural people. 60 quit, and they went with Kuhil Lewis. They're all with CNHA now, Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. Ian, you know what that, you know, Kuhil. So I'm helping them. I also work for Hilton. So we're looking at regenerative tourism and how we can incorporate our culturally into our tourists. Yeah, I can talk forever. I've been in politics for long.
Okay, well, that's a good stopping point for that audience asked question. Do we have any other questions from anybody else?
No, nobody's.
Yeah. Okay. Seeing none, Leahu Isa, running for the at-large for OHA Board of Trustees. If you could make your concluding statements, 2 minutes, and thank you very much.
If you want to read about our history and what's going on, buy Peter Uppo's book. He just had an autograph signing at Native bookstores. It's called For the Record, and he's put together all of these interesting civil deed articles, and he's a good writer. Yeah, and I have a synopsis of something he wrote, but I don't think I better read that. Anyway, I know people already know who I am, so it's going to vote for me or not vote for me. That's
Okay, well, thank you so much for being able to make it. And once again, OHA candidate for trustee, Leahu Isa, thank you so much. And it looks like nobody else was able to make it unless we have any latecomers for the OHA portion. Do we have any candidates for OHA that are online?
I'll just share, I did get an email from Kunani Nihipale, who's running for the Molokai Lanai seat. He informed me that there was, I'm not sure how much I should share, but a family emergency. He was prepared to join us this evening. Thank you.
Okay, well, seeing no one else, once again, thank you to everyone who could make this candidate forum possible. This is the first time we've invited and had an OHA candidate show up, so it's actually pretty, I know not too many people are here, but I think it's pretty exciting, and I hope we can continue to do this into the future. Okay, and we'll go ahead and bring us out of recess. Well, hold on. We do have board announcements before we get to adjourn. So the next regular meeting, the Makiki-Lower Punchbowl-Tantalus Neighborhood Board number 10 is scheduled to meet on Thursday, November 21st, 2024 at 6 p.m. at Makiki District Park, Old Makiki Community Library, second floor, and online via WebEx broadcast. The meetings can be viewed on Olelo Focus 49 at 3:30 p.m. on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. Social media. Follow us at facebook.com/MakikiNB. That's Makiki, letters NB. And then for board member contact information, visit www.8.honolulu.gov/NCO/NB10. John. Yeah. Well, the caps doesn't. Okay, do we have a motion to? Okay. All right, and we'll go ahead and adjourn. Huzzah!